So what's just your take on the West in general so far this year?
My take is that this is the most excited I've been for the playoffs for a conference because I genuinely could see any team losing in the first round. Currently, I'm not going to list who's like doing well on the record. I just know that the Lakers, I think, are the 10th seed right now.
11, but yeah.
They're okay. Now they're 11.
Yep.
So I have them winning the West, and they're the 11th seed. So
That's great. No, yeah, I
like the
love it.
fact that 11th seed right now, I'm the most confident in is kind
You know,
of
like a
like I'm
team that
wearing
wouldn't
I'm
even
wearing a
qualify for
Mavericks
the play.
jersey, and they're terrible right now. Like I don't know what you want me to do with the West because I look at that conference and I like every team and also hate every team at the same point.
I agree. I think Denver. Well, and you mentioned you think the Lakers can beat them. Let's talk about the Lakers. Let's talk about the Lakers because
Best team in the West.
so they're the 11th seed right now. They're 6-4 in their last 10. They have the second best defensive rating in the league in the month of March. And they're doing this while LeBron James is injured. Anthony Davis is back. He had a couple, shaky games, but it feels like he is back to being that force for them, that star player for them. Obviously, with those two guys, Davis and LeBron, injuries, health is going to be the concern for them. But if those two guys are healthy, I think they walk through the play-in. Now, here's the one thing, though. What if the Lakers get the 7th seed in the play-in? Like, what if they win the play and get the 7th seed? Then they don't play Denver. But hypothetically speaking, if they get the 8th seed, I agree with you. I really think that they could beat Denver. We've seen them beat them in the playoffs in the bubble. I think Davis can go up against Jokic and really like have a good time on both ends of the court. I think he can perform well. And LeBron James is LeBron James. He will absolutely use his masterful mind for basketball to cut apart this Denver Nuggets defense. And plus, all the role players they brought in are performing fantastically. What are you seeing from the Lakers right now? Why do you have them winning the West? Is that like actually your pick or no?
Like that's like legitimately my pick.
Okay, and I can get behind that, but go in depth on that.
All right. So in the playoffs, I don't care if LeBron James has a broken leg he's playing. He's gonna be fine.
Right.
Like I'm sorry, but
Completely agree.
it's been that way my whole life. So
Yep.
AD is a bigger health concern to me than LeBron because AD actually has missed a playoff series against the Suns. He missed some games.
Yep.
But AD has actually been pretty healthy this year. He's like kind of missed some games, but like
He missed like a month, but that's good for him. That's not as much as usual.
yeah. So I'll take it. LeBron, I know, is going to be fine in playing. I love my boy Westbrook, but I could not think of a worse team for him to play on from a basketball standpoint than the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
And now they traded Westbrook. They got D'Angelo Russell, who can shoot and can sometimes play defense. He's actually a smart defender, but he's not. It's more of like an effort thing at times.
Yeah.
You look at Austin Reeves, who dropped 35 the other night. I know everyone's talking about him like he's Michael Jordan.
Austin Reeves, though, has been really good. He's the type of guy LeBron likes, just an easy catch and shooter that LeBron can trust if he's wide open.
Okay, this also might sound weird, but LA always just has some random G League white dude that the whole city rallies behind. It was Alex Caruso, and then now the crown got passed to Austin Reeves.
I mean, they're such different players, though.
I know, but still, the way that the whole team just rallies behind him,
That's
it's
fair.
crazy.
That's fair.
So yeah,
Vandy, talk about Vandy.
Yeah, so this is where like the actual difference was made. I still think LeBron and AD might be the best 1-2 in the NBA at times. Like in the playoffs especially, I believe that. But they got Jared Vanderbilt, who I loved in Minnesota because he saved Towns defensively, and that's why their defense worked. That's why the team was good. So they have Towns. They have Vanderbilt next to AD. So you're an amazing front court now defensively. They have D'Angelo Russell, who I mentioned, but Vanderbilt changed the team defensively where they went from a terrible offensive team, so now they actually look like they can play defense again.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Reeves went from the number 3rd option to now like a guy that when he scores, it's cool. But like, I don't know why Austin Reeves had to be your 3rd best player. Malik Beasley is just a good guy that can shoot threes, which doesn't seem like a lot, but they did not have a single guy on that team that could do that.
They didn't have shooting.
So now they fulfilled their biggest need of 3-point shooting and defense. They got both of them. And if you have 3-point shooting and defense around LeBron James that wins championships.
Not to mention LeBron James and Anthony Davis. So, yeah.
Yeah, like they have the best two. And I just described the fact that they now have the perfect 3-pointers and defense now around them.
So, here's my question for you. D'Lo has been awesome since he got to the Lakers. He's putting up like 18 and 7, really efficient shooting. Seems like you said, it's an effort thing with him. Some years the effort's not there. I don't know if the effort was fully there the first half of this season with Minnesota, but right now
It was not.
it's in his return to the Lakers, which is I still think is crazy that he came back, but it's cool to see. He's playing really well. Do you think, because this has been a problem for D'Angelo Russell in the past, when he's not the ball dominant player, do you think he will make the sacrifices needed to play off of LeBron James and be that secondary ball handler, that responsible secondary ball handler? Do you think he'll make those concessions, or do you think this fit could get a little sloppy?
I think he'll do it for this season, get his contract, and then he'll start complaining that he's not the number one ball handler. Like, I don't know if that's.
I've always had a soft spot for Russell, even though I'm fine to criticize him because he's had some bad moments, but I do like him. I feel like he could have the best stretch of his career in these coming months in the playoffs.
Yeah, as long as he keeps it this way. I just know there's probably a world where he complains at some point about his role on the team, and it goes from like this fun D'Angelo comeback to like, here we go again, D'Angelo Russell
And
being D'Angelo Russell.
yeah, and here's my thing, like I really think that if the Lakers get the 8th seed, they will beat Denver. I completely agree because, and I was, it's like I was talking about, I don't think Denver has any secondary looks. The Lakers, they're back to where they were in 2020, where they can get really creative with their lineups. They have 8 or 9 guys that could be in the crunch time 5 at any given game. Sometimes Dennis Schroeder is scoring the ball and he's going to the rim. Sometimes Malik Beasley is going to make 7 3-pointers and look like an awesome player. Sometimes Jared Vanderbilt is going to have 14 rebounds and 6 assists and he's going to be playing awesome. Sometimes Austin Reeves is going to be red hot. Sometimes they can put Anthony Davis at the 4 and put a center in there like Mo Bamba. And that they haven't done that very often. Mo Bamba isn't playing too much for this team, but he's proven in the past he can score the ball. They have different looks. So, and that is why I think I'm in agreement with you. I don't know if I'm going to pick the Lakers to make the NBA Finals, but I do think they very much can make some noise in the postseason.
I mean, yeah, I agree with that. I don't know what team, if they could beat the Denver Nuggets, I think they could win the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because I think they're matchup wise, they're so versatile. I will push back on you saying they're like the 2020 Lakers. The 2020 Lakers team, I think, was extremely underrated in the moment. We thought because super teams were over that like the Lakers weren't that good of a team, like not at that level. They were that good. LeBron James and AD were the best 2, and AD was playing like a top 5 player in the league, and LeBron was 1 at the time.
I just mean I think that team is better than this team. I just mean they now can do different things again. Like where the last 2 years, especially earlier this year when, they had different players and worse players like Westbrook, they were pretty stuck. And now I feel like they can adjust in the playoffs the way they would need to.
They're in a way better spot than they were at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think you've convinced me. Lakers first 8 seed to make the final since the New York Knicks. I think I'm there with you. I think I've been convinced. I was almost there at the Clippers, but here's the thing. Let's end here. Unless you want to talk about Minnesota or Utah, but I feel like we have to, unfortunately.
There is no team I'd rather not talk about than the Minnesota Timberwolves and Rudy Gobert.
Well, that's disappointing because I kind of like what the Wolves are doing right now, but it's okay. LeBron James is pretty much the unequivocal second greatest player of all time. He has 4 championships. He is the all-time leading scorer in NBA history that happened earlier this season. If he comes back after, another injury layoff, he walks into the playoffs. He and Anthony Davis get the Lakers out of the play-in game. They face a number 1 seed in Denver or a number 2 seed in Memphis. They knock one of those teams down, and then maybe play the other team in the next round. And then maybe in the conference finals, they take on the Clippers, the crosstown rival. They take down all those guys. And then by some miracle, the Lakers defeat the Bucks or sadly the Sixers or the Celtics in the NBA Finals. LeBron James gets his 5th ring. He does it as an 8 seed or a 7 seed. Like at a certain point, I think that would convince me and would finally make me comfortable to say what I truly feel, that LeBron is the best player of all time. I still say it's Jordan because I just think those 6 rings right now are really unassailable, those 2 three-peats. But LeBron, if he had just this one extra thing in his quiver at 38 years old, I think that would be a crazy storyline that a lot of people aren't prepared for. But it's in play. What do you think about that? Because I've been thinking about that.
I mean, LeBron's my go. I think when people boil
Already?
down, yeah, I mean,
Okay.
when he went to the Lakers and won it again, I'm like, all right, Rose 35, 36, and just walked into LA, changed it, and then won during like a pandemic. Like, I'm sorry, but like 3 different teams you had to go to win. You can't build a dynasty with the Cavaliers because it's not 1990s. Okay. Players change teams now. And also, if you look at the amount of talent in the league, it's so much higher than Jordan's. Jordan now can't, because imagine, all right, look at all the foreign-born players who probably wouldn't be in the NBA during Jordan's era, but LeBron has to deal with Jokic, Luka, Giannis, Embiid.
Well,
Who else am I
how about
missing?
even this? How about even this? You just look at who the Bulls beat in those final series. The best team they played, in my opinion, was the Suns. That Suns team with Barkley and Kevin Johnson. I would say that was the best team out of the 6. Like LeBron's out here
Jazz?
fighting. What you say?
Over the Jazz.
Yes, in my opinion, yes. You look at who LeBron has gone against, both who he's beaten and who he's lost to in the finals. You know, Duncan and Popovich and Tony Parker with San Antonio. The Warriors, just with Curry and Draymond and Clay. The Warriors with Kevin Durant.
But LeBron that year literally didn't have Kyrie or Kevin when he went up against Curry player Draymond.
Right, exactly. Like, how about this? Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden, they beat him. Like, it's just, I know they were young, but still, those are 3 of the top 75 players ever. Like, LeBron's finals wins, he has less of them than Jordan, but they're more impressive than Jordan's, in my opinion.
Anyone that boils
Especially the
down,
2016 finals.
you can't boil down the GOAT conversation to 6 is greater than 4. I'm sorry.
I know. Right, exactly.
The idea that the whole greatest of all time depends on who's won more finals is the most stupid, ludicrous argument. It's like you're going to try to boil down that one thing just because of one comparative statistic. Like 6 is greater than 4.
Mm-hmm. Like, here's the thing. Like, here's my thing that I always say. Like, if Patrick Mahomes, at the level he's going at right now, say he retires with 4 Super Bowl rings, are we really going to and his statistics that he has now, like, continue to be amazing? Like, he continues to be a 40 touchdown, 8 interception guy for another decade or whatever it is, 10 interception. Are we going to say, well, Brady still won 3 more Super Bowls, so Pat Mahomes isn't better than Brady? Like, he's just clearly a better
people will say that, but I don't think that
it's wrong. Like,
who's the greatest. Like,
and I think while I just projected something in the future with Mahomes and Brady, we're living it right now with LeBron. He's done everything you can ask. I mean, and maybe I'm a hypocrite for still having Jordan as the GOAT, but LeBron's very close.
He's lost 1 finals that he should have won.
Yeah, the Dallas one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only one that he's lost that he actually could have and probably should have won.
Right.
Like, he wasn't beating that San Antonio team either time that he lost to them.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't beating without Kyrie and Kevin Love, he wasn't going to be that Golden State team. And there was no chance.
He shouldn't have beat them at all. The 16
know.
finals he shouldn't have won. And he did it. Like,
Yeah, and then
there was history.
If LeBron beat any team with Kevin Durant, he would be the legitimate undisputed GOAT.
Yeah.
In my brain.
Yeah.
Just because that actually was the best team I've ever seen. But if he wins this year, he gets 5 just as much as Kobe. Yeah. If anyone that's saying that the whole Kobe is better than LeBron thing,
we don't even entertain that on this podcast. We don't even entertain.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry. Shaq was 3 finals MVPs. Like, imagine if Kyrie and Wade were the finals MVPs. I'm sorry. Like, would that not be a discussion?
Right.
Oh, LeBron won 3 finals or won 4 finals, but 2 of them he wasn't the finals MVP. We would discredit those beyond belief. Are you kidding?
Yeah, imagine what Skip Bayless would do with that.
I know, but yet Kobe, 3 of the 5 wasn't the best player on the team.
It's crazy because I'm like so pro Kobe, but like I just have to like kind of down on him because so many like LeBron haters pretend he's even on LeBron's level, which is absurd.
I don't know how people say you don't know ball if it's not MJ.
Kobe. And I like the fact that Kobe isn't with us anymore. I also hate like saying anything bad about him, but like it's just LeBron. Like LeBron is just so he's LeBron James. Like that's just who he is. He is the most transcendent athlete this sport has ever seen, along with Jordan. I would give them like they're on the same level of being transcendent, but because LeBron has just surpassed Jordan in the sense of just how long he's been doing this. He's the all-time leading scorer. And if he does win a championship this season, which is very possible he doesn't, but this is just a fun hypothetical conversation to have. Because if that does happen, it's going to be a really fun narrative to see how it's going to be fun to see how the media interprets a potential LeBron James championship victory this season.
Yeah, and also we've seen throughout time, like people just win less championships as time goes on. Like Russell won 8, and then
no, he won 11.
Did I say 8?
Yeah,
bro. I don't know what time. I'm so tired. I don't know why I said 8. I know he won 11. Oh no, I'm gonna say who was it? Michaela Parrish won 8.
I don't know.
I will check. One of the Celtics guys. I sent you this one 8-0, but no one talks about it.
Oh, it was wasn't it Havlicek? It was
Havlicek. So Havlicek. Russell wins 11, Havlicek wins 8, then MJ wins 6, Kobe and Duncan win 5. It's like throughout time they win less because there's so much more talent that a player can't, and there's also more teams now. Yeah. I'm sorry, they didn't have to deal with the expansion of the league. I was saying this before. Luka, Jokic, Embiid, and Giannis are like 4 of the top 5-6 players in the league.
Yeah,
like they wouldn't have been in the league in 1990 because the basketball wasn't outside of America yet. But now LeBron has to deal with all these generational all-time athletes he has to compete against. But like MJ was dealing with, only a smaller pool of people.
Let me step in just to clarify for you, because like I don't want people to be like, well, actually, Chris, Hakeem Olajuwon was in the league back then. Like, if you look at statistically, there are so many more foreign players in the NBA right now than there were.
Tony Kukoc was like the poster boy of a European basketball player.
Right.
Okay, Tony Kukoc and Jokic are not the same player. I'm sorry. Yeah. I tried saying this, and I over spring break. I was saying how like LeBron is still a lot higher competition, especially with the foreign-born players. And someone mentioned Tony Kukoc, and he was on MJ's team anyways.
Chris, what about Sarunas Marciulionis? Come on.
Yeah. Sabonis also came over and he was old too. And it's like, I'm sorry, there's just a lot more guys. If you did like the Team World, like they want to do a Team World versus Team USA team for like the All-Star game.
Yeah.
That idea would have been terrible in 1990 because there was not a lot of people. Besides Hakeem was the only one. He's not European, but he was like a world player. Yes. Besides Hakeem was Tony Kukoc. Like it's just a complete
Drazen Petrovic, but like there's not a lot.
Yeah, the just sheer talent in the league now of guys coming up. There's so much more. Wembanyama is going to come next year. Like Wemby's another guy from Australia.
We're going to be talking about Wembanyama this summer on this podcast, I'm sure.
We should just have our own podcast just about Victor Wembanyama.
Wembanyama sweepstakes, yeah.
Yeah, just the whole idea of that LeBron should just win 6 as MJ won 6 doesn't work.
Yeah, I agree.
I just it's frustrating. I don't know how we got here from the Western Conference, but LeBron's gonna win the finals. That's how we got here. LeBron James gonna win his 5th finals. You heard it here.
I just think this is why this Western Conference is so ridiculous. Is in that like we are picking the 11th seed to make the finals, both of us. Like I have somehow warped my mind where that is possible because
I only think they lose to Milwaukee,
and I don't want Jokic to do it. So, what'd you say?
I only think they lose to Milwaukee.
You do think they lose?
Yeah, that's the only team that I'd be like, yeah, they'd lose. Every other team I could talk myself into.
Right. Yeah, I think it's fair. I think that's fair. Now, it doesn't matter because the Sixers are going to win the finals anyway. So the whole conversation we just had about LeBron becoming the GOAT, it doesn't matter because the Sixers are going to win the finals.
Joe,
and their first finals since 1983. But it was a fun conversation to have, wasn't it?
I'll send you a crisis hotline when the Sixers lose in the second round.
No, we're at least making round 3. We're beating Boston, Chris. Come on, at least be with me on this one. You have to have my back here. Even if even if your stance is the Bucks are going to beat the Sixers in the Eastern Conference Finals and go to the finals, you got to have my back on this second round thing. You got to have my back. Come on.
As of right now, I think you'd beat the Celtics, but I think in the playoffs,
Playoffs right around the corner, Chris. Not much is about to change.
I think Boston's going to have like a ramp up week 1, as long as it's not the Heat. If Boston could just have like an easier round 1 just to like find their mojo.
Marcus Smart wishes he was DeAnthony Melton.
Cool. So dude, no.
Yes, he does. Has Marcus Smart ever made the culture rankings, Chris? No, he hasn't.
You know what? Marcus Smart tweeted the other day. He was actually offended that it was on the culture rankings.
Yeah.
Well, I've
Join
also never
the
been on the
club.
culture rankings
Join the
show.
club. Yeah.
I haven't been on the culture rankings either. So me and Marcus Smart are gonna go cry about it. And
Listen,
then
this
Clay
is a good
Thompson's just gonna
podcast.
remind me,
Maybe you'll make it this week. I don't know. We'll see.
bro. I don't want to make that award anymore. Me and Marcus Smart are gonna form our own culture rankings, and Clay Thompson's gonna be there counting how many rings he has. And it's gonna be a cast of people who have been outcast by the culture rankings.